Alright, I'm gonna try this again. Got the dozer running, backhoe running. A little ditch project, a little ditch cleaning we did, or I did. Get it back over here and get it out of the way, get it warmed up. But you can see we got several piles of dirt. I'm gonna basically just spread them out down here on this end of the lot. And got a little bit more cleanup to do along that edge. I'll probably get these piles knocked down, dragged out or whatever. And that's about 300 foot of ditch, quite a bit of dirt. But we're just gonna kind of waste it down here on this side of the lot. So some of it I've got to pull down here with the backhoe, or I'll use the front end loader and push it. Be faster than pushing all the way across this lot with it, or dozer. So I'll probably let the dozer warm up a little bit while I move a little bit with the backhoe. I got the good old dozer going. Old TD8 is doing pretty well. It needs tracks at some point. But these ditch slopes are too steep to get the backhoe on them. A little bit too deep and wide just to dig out with a back bucket. So I went ahead and just widened the bottom of it out to about the width of the dozer blade, and just kind of took them. Oh, it ain't perfect. It wasn't perfect when I started either. So, but we'll get this dirt pile moved. Got a few sticks in it, not tree roots, stuff like that. So what I'm thinking I'll probably do is just kind of spread it out over this area down here. Kind of starting about in this area right here, and I don't know, just kind of build it up a little bit, but yet I don't want to cause a hole, so I'll probably keep a little bit of slope on it, or try to. I might actually end up bringing the 930 and the box blade in here to finish that off. It's pretty hard to finish this stuff with grass in it. That's one reason these guys buy these preparators. They can take and just pretty much pulverize that stuff. So if you don't do it that way, you pretty much got to kind of track it in with your tires or tracks. Well, you know, takes a little more time. But anyway, I may bring the box blade in after I get it knocked down somewhat flat, and just kind of see how it does. And this would have been a good job probably for a dump truck, I guess. I don't know. I still got some dirt over on the other side, down across the little bridge that I gotta pull out of there. But this guy's been wanting to do this all summer. I've kind of put him off because this dirt was, we finally got a little bit of rain here a while back, but not much. But back this summer it was so dry that this just would have made a pile of dust. Especially when you're trying to take it and level it out somewhere. What you end up with is just a pile pile of dusty material you can't really grade, you can't really get anything done with it. So sometimes waiting for a rain, you can still see there's dry spots in here where we've dug down a ways. But sometimes waiting for a rain to come is worthwhile. I mean, I would have liked to have done the job this summer, but I don't like dealing with dust. I mean, I don't like dealing with unusable dirt. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at on it. It's kind of late in the summer to get grass growing, but we can get some ryegrass or something sprigged in here, or not sprigged, but seeded rather. That would have been the advantage of doing it earlier this year. Would have been, we could have got some. We would have for sure been able to get some Bermuda growing back in it. This is November, it's almost Thanksgiving. We're down to Turkey Day time. Got the side of this one a little better than the other side. I just can't get that close to the road over there to get that sloped out as good. So just, well, you know, backhoe stuff, dozer stuff. This is kind of a neat job. It's close to home. I'm 2 miles from my house, 2.5, in my little small town of Mulhall. When I'm spreading dirt with the backhoe, a lot of times I'll kind of throw it out there a little rough, and then I'll come back in, flatten the bucket out, and just kind of push it down. A lot of guys have trouble, and it's not easy to grade dirt with a backhoe. You notice I use the float, so when I come back, I'm going to move over just a little bit, and that'll do a couple things. It'll get the backhoe flatter, got me out of that hole, and it'll also compact better. So there's just a lot of tricks to it. I mean, it's not really rocket science or anything like that. But I've actually built quite a few house pads, shop pads, that kind of stuff with a backhoe. And if you got a full bucket and you will roll this out here, it's going to be pretty hard. It's going to compact it pretty well. So now I'm going to kind of work over toward this hole I had the first time I came through. And yeah, I kind of got a hole back there where I hit. It's okay, you just kind of got to work it down. Sometimes I'll put the bucket at about that angle right there, and when I back drag, it'll fill in the ruts. It'll drag enough to fill in a few low spots. Nothing too tricky about it, really. Just another thing, I'll show you a bad method for dumping dirt. And I do this sometimes just because I'm kind of in a hurry, but let's say we're coming down through here and we want to spread this out over a length here. Okay, if the material's really good, it'll come out pretty even, but you can kind of tell it's pretty rough up and down. And this is where back dragging and float will help you out a bunch. It won't get it perfect, but it'll knock it down a little bit. As long as you kind of keep your machine level when you're working it, don't rely on your front axle. It doesn't level you. All it does is hold you up. That's kind of the difference between and I think that's probably the biggest difference between a skid steer and a backhoe is the skid steer, whenever you're picking up a load of dirt, your weight's on your front tires and they're rigid. So in other words, if they start to dip, the bucket turns. Or if, well, what am I trying to say? With a backhoe, the difference between the back axle and the front bucket, which is the rigid part, is a long ways. So that makes it harder to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, or it's more of an understanding thing, I think. But if you kind of understand, it's really hard to build a really small area with a backhoe because of the distance between the back axle and the front bucket. Because my back axle determines where my front bucket ends up. And when I'm working in a tight area and I need to kind of try to cut it level, or I'm maybe even working a side hill and I need a little tilt, what I will do, and I'll kind of show you here, if I want to tilt to the right, I'll swing my back bucket to the right. And it ain't a lot, but there's enough there that it puts the whole machine on an angle, or a tilt. So kind of like tilting a dozer blade. And it doesn't take a whole lot, because once your bucket starts cutting that angle, then your front wheel follows it, and then your back wheel follows it. So over a longer distance, you're going to have more of a. I'm going to leave that pile there and just kind of show you what we did here. It's not a lot, but if you're needing to cut more level, or an incline or a slope, you can use the back bucket on a backhoe to use. That's how you do your tilt, basically. Like I say, if you're making a field with a backhoe, this is kind of a good way to do it. There's more than one way you can do it. You can start by dumping dirt down at the bottom, or wherever you're starting at or ending up at. There's nothing wrong with that, but you'll probably come out better if you just keep kind of working this end down and getting it nice and flat. That way your back tires are where you want them and your bucket's level this way. You know, just overall it just works out better. And then when you back up, just put your bucket and float, and it'll fill in the little divots and the little holes. And now if you got rocks in your dirt, there's not a good way to grade rocks if they're very big. I mean, my best advice for that is try to lose the rocks in the deep part of the field. Try to get them packed down, try to compact around them with your front tires. If you don't have a lot of rocks, it can work. And right there, I just kind of push through the pile. I'm not even going to take the time to pick it up and back up. We're just going to spread this one on the side here. But yeah, if you got rocks in your material, it's really hard to get it leveled out. But if you can get them buried in the deep part of the field, and then take your, you know, try to get them compacted down and try to get a little cover on them. I mean, the more you bump them, every time you bump a rock, it knocks the dirt loose around it, and then it tries to float or tries to come up to the top. So once you kind of get the rocks down, you got to kind of leave them. B95 I've always loved the way this tractor pushes. I got me a rock right there, so we got something to demonstrate with. Speaking of rocks, I don't have a lot out here, or just a few. Try to find it again. Where'd that rock go? I'll try to throw that rock up there. There's a stick with it. It wasn't a very big rock. Not a very good example, but I don't want that rock on the thin fill end. I want it down where the fill's thicker. So we'll take it down here. Another thing with grading with a backhoe is you don't want to rely on your ability to grade with I don't know. If you look at the bottom of this bucket, there's some wear pads on the back of it, the back edge of it, and they're worn pretty good. They've been used a lot. You probably can't even see anything I'm doing. I've been talking to a camera that's not even aimed at the job. Anyway, I use the back heel of that bucket a lot. And what I mean by that is whenever I'm leveling or whenever I'm using the bucket to level or fill dirt, I don't want to have my bucket tipped up like this, because you'll see here in a minute. Actually, that didn't do too bad, but usually what happens is you start a little roller coaster ride. So you're better to keep your bucket flat and use the heel of the bucket to keep you from gouging in. Kind of see that slick area there. That's a pretty good indication our moisture's pretty good on this dirt. Whenever you can make it shiny with a back drag like that. But one of the reasons I want to bring my box blade in here is the more I work around this yard with the backhoe, the more I leave ruts. And I want to be able to take the box blade and come through here and fill these ruts in. Anyway, this is about 30 minutes of piddling around here. We've got quite a little bit of dirt moved. Like I say, it doesn't take that long with the backhoe. Actually, moving dirt like this is probably faster with a backhoe than a dozer, because we're moving about 250 feet, probably 200 feet. If I was to start pushing this across this pad or this yard with a dozer, I'd have windrows, it'd just be a lot of mess. Anyway, I'm gonna get the box blade in here. I might ought to just use a backhoe to do all of this. But this bigger pile here, I'm thinking I might take the dozer and push it down. And I'm leaving a ridge of dirt here. That's gonna be my grading. I'm gonna use that for grading. Now there are some sticks here. There's a tree root. Actually, a couple of them I need to dig out. low spot in here. But if this dirt was really dry, you couldn't really work it down this easy. If you got dry dirt with grass in it, grass roots, it's just really hard to get it down nice. Because the grass will always be pulling up dirt, and then it'll ball up, and then it'll push a bunch of sand in front of it or dry dirt. It's always, that's one of the most frustrating materials I've ever had to work with is sand. And the sandier material is even worse. If you got sandy material with grass in it, it's a nightmare. job done. Anyway, got some of the grass knocked down, a little better.